Hey. Hey, testing, testing. We are live. We are good. Hey, I'm going to do a little bit of daily stuff while people filter in. I did a bunch of yelling yesterday at a Renaissance fair.
Nice.
And my voice is kind of feeling a little bit dead yesterday, but it seems like it's getting better now.
The soil has become crumbly, aerated, suitable for...
Finally, some interesting work.
This time. The ingredients were honest, but it was very effective. Please believe me. Don't be so furious. You can't separate a boat from her oars. Go on in, that is fine. Toasty gods! Radio waves are everywhere.
There I am.
Oh. Warning, warning. The puppy is fleeing the scene at its maximum speed.
Of course, I didn't have this open.
The soil has become crumbly, aerated.
All right. This. Oh, that helps.
Now, should I put the playhouse near those books? No.
All right. We are live with Reverse 1999.
Have a sweet dream.
If you aren't familiar with this game, it is a gacha game. It is... It is set in kind of like an alternate history of our current world. There are different factions and different nations, but historically a lot of it's the same, with the difference that they have Arcanists, who are like people, but they have magic powers, kind of like the world of Harry Potter, and we have Muggles, and you have Wizards. This has Arcanists instead. There is some conflict between them, but not a whole lot. Maybe a bit of prejudice or something, maybe more like the X-Men, depending on the situation. But it's not an all-out war, and a lot of the Arcanist stuff is kind of secretive. We're out of the way. And the story mostly centers on the Arcanist. Most of the characters that you can summon are Arcanist, but there's a couple of exceptions. Anyway, the new story is kind of an event story.
And covers their mouth.
meaning that this story goes away until they do a rerun of the story. Oh, that's Verton on the left and Lilia on the right.
Are you alright?
Please help me.
Most of the stories that they do are this kind of event story where they're
A motel?
come and go.
Tuesday's motel. Can I help you, miss?
Oh, these accents. They always love doing accents.
Who are you?
You're in deep now, ain't ya? The name's Argus. Just call me Merc.
When was that array drawn?
It'd be less than 24 hours ago.
Whew.
I didn't do this.
Gunpowder in his fingers. But this ain't no ordinary pistol. You're in for a lick of trouble, that's for sure. Take me to his room. What are we after, boss?
Firstly, I'd like to know what happened to her. Second, whether the Order of Enlightenment has been here. Why did a Xeno officer come to this place? This motel?
Those calls are meant for the dead. They say the deepest despair comes from hesitation. It won't fool me.
Can it really be that simple?
Here, let's mark this as violent and graphic depictions, okay? Alright. Haunted Highway. Route 77 story mode. Trail of footprints. Let's go. A haunted highway. Trail of footprints. Rain-soaked soil, shallow footprints. Mercenary in a wide-brimmed hat kneels on one knee, left eye glowing brightly.
10.6 inches long.
So beneath the footprint is uneven. One side presses deeper into the ground.
Signs of limping.
Okay. Limping is from one side pushing deeper into the ground. Wide stride, heavy indentations, slight drag.
Male.
Heavy pressure on the forefoot, later on the heel. Deep scrapes at the front, fewer at the back.
Around 20 years old.
Light on his feet, uneven pressure on the forefoot.
Lightweight.
She scratches her scalp with the barrel of her shotgun. Not a great idea. Why does she keep on doing that? Gun safety, please. Further she goes, more irregular footprints become, and the more clues emerge.
More sets of footprints here.
There's a rustling in the grass nearby, along with the faint sound of a conversation.
Are you sure this is where the materials for the revered one are? There isn't even a single trace of human activity here, let alone a market. I guess the only possible
Order follower
explanation
1
is
and 2.
we're here for these plants, right?
Of course not, you idiot.
That's too bad. I'm great at harvesting plants. I'm a pro, see? Check out these calluses. Although my mom would probably disagree.
Okay.
You have any idea what these materials look like? It must be important, so we better handle them with care. Don't want to risk mistaking them for weeds, you know? I hope they're easy enough to find. With my leg messed up like this, I can hardly handle any delicate work.
That's him. The one with the limp.
Sorry about this, man.
There's a distant sound of a gun being
At least
cocked.
you'll see your mom soon. Up there in heaven.
What?
The mercenary decisively pulls the trigger of her shotgun. The bullet grazes the assailant's cheek.
Who's there?
Alright, seems like she saves the kid. Alright, we are on a grass team. There's green. That team looks fine. Level 30, I have plenty.
Wow. So many things that I haven't seen.
They've already got poison on them.
Want to hit the waves?
Go
I
for
admire your courage.
Crew, gather
that.
round.
Keep up the pace.
Swing, swing, my little boat.
annihilated.
We share the same dream.
Want to hit the waves?
To a brighter future for everyone.
And now to return to my long-term mission. Rest. What are you waiting for? Get your ass out of here.
His trembling hands betray his fear and panic.
Ah, you got a couple questions for this one too, huh? Well, first come, first served. I'm afraid you're gonna have to get in line.
She steps on the man's chest and presses the barrel against his throat.
All right, here's how we're gonna do this. I ask, you answer. If you lie, I'll blow your jaw off. Have you ever met a girl named Kayla?
Kayla?
Let's try that again. A girl, about 5'3", chestnut hair, emerald green eyes, speaks like a Texan. Have you seen her?
Yes or no? The man shakes his head in terror.
No.
She smirks.
Then why's her hair clip in your pocket?
She presses down harder, jamming the shotgun into his throat.
I remember. There's a girl, 5'3", chestnut hair. She's always carrying a basket. Her name's Kayla, too.
Alright, he sounds like he's making that up.
But her eyes ain't emerald green. They're...
Man's mouth opens helplessly as he desperately tries to remember the color of the girl's eyes. It's on the tip of his tongue, but he can't seem to spit it out. The crucial detail he should remember, but is now forgotten.
Tell me how you got this hair clip. The more detailed, the better.
We just bumped into each other by chance. She dropped it on the road, and I thought my daughter would like it, so I...
Relieved to have moved on from the color, the man blabbers on obediently. Finger tightens on the trigger.
I'll give you one last chance. Where did you meet?
At a place called... Tuesday's Motel.
There you go. That wasn't so hard, was it?
She hefts the shotgun and knocks him out with the butt.
Next time, just spit it out. Save us all some time.
Are you with the Foundation?
The Foundation?
Yeah. They hate the Foundation, you see. But you saved me. I need some help. My mom...
The mercenary cuts him off harshly.
I never heard of no Foundation. And I don't give a you-know-what about what's going on between you and them. Got my own matters to deal with. I'll leave him with you. Keep the gun. You figure the rest out yourself.
A thin cloud obscures the setting sun, scattering its light. She looks out into the horizon.
Now, where's this motel?
The young follower points a trembling finger southward, where the stars have started to appear in the sky. The red lowlands lie still, furrows rising and falling gently.
Listen, you saved my life, so I owe you one. I have to warn you, that motel...
Save your breath. We're done here.
Wait!
The follower hurriedly pulls out a few dollar bills from his pocket.
You're a mercenary, right? I can tell by your gear. I'm worried about my mother. If you see her on the road, please give me a call.
He hesitates for a moment before taking off a metal locket from around his neck.
Here's a photo of her.
Mercenary opens the locket to reveal an elderly woman with a kind smile.
Got it.
She hands it back to the follower.
And here, my phone number.
She writes out a series of numbers on a blank section of one banknote.
And listen, be careful. Something ain't right about that motel.
All right.
She takes the money, slips the dollar bill with the phone number into her pocket, and turns away. The afternoon heat lingers on the highway. Mercenary makes her way back to her car, shotgun in hand. She comes to a sudden stop.
1 sheep, 2 sheep, 3 sheep.
Voice echoes from afar, and she notices a fluffy white figure circling around her car.
Is that a sheep?
The fluffy creature turns its head. It's a sheep-headed, human-bodied arcanist.
2 sheep, 3 sheep. Funny how we hit the hay every night, just like kids hit the books every day. I'm Barbara. Nice to meet you.
This is whack. She's got a design on her shirt like she's a JoJo character. Sheep-headed arcanist extends a hand, gesture befitting an introduction, but she doesn't get the expected response.
You're in my way, ma'am.
I've tried waving and shouting at the drivers, but none of them stopped for me. Thankfully, pacing around the road seems to have done the trick.
Listen, if you need a ride, here's my answer.
She gets in, closes the door, and looks at the hitchhiker through the open window.
My driver left me here. Probably because of that scraping sound on the car roof. That scared him half to death.
What?
Everything happens for a reason. Destiny's brought me to the right place, I think. Could you give me a ride? I'm on a business trip, so money is no object.
It ain't about money.
Oh, a disappointing answer. But I understand. One must be vigilant. If you don't mind me asking, miss, what happened to your eyes? They're bloodshot. It's best not to drive with your eyes in such a state. You have a much higher chance of getting into an accident.
That ain't none of your concern, Miss Sheep. See ya.
The mercenary closes the window, finally blocking out the endless chatter. She turns the ignition key, and the radio bursts to life, blaring disco music inside the vehicle. She shuts it off and stomps on the gas. The engine roars as the speedometer climbs higher and higher. In the fields on either side of the road, shepherds are herding their sheep. Unwelcome memories begin to surface. The land at the foot of the hills is covered in green grass, now turning a sunset red as autumn approaches.
Argus, come over here. This little lamb almost didn't make it out of her mama's belly.
Girl cuts the lamb's umbilical cord with a pair of scissors, while the ewe lies in the hay baying weakly.
That's life.
Don't say that. No living thing is born to suffer. Look, it's already standing.
The ewe licks off the afterbirth as the lamb struggles to stand on its shaky legs.
What an adorable little thing.
She grins as she wipes the blood and fluid from her hands onto her apron.
It's getting dark. We should take them back. Ain't no way they'll make it through the night out here with their mama hurt, and you can't see a thing at night.
You're right. Let's go.
The wind sweeps through the grass and rustles into the distance.
Screw it.
Argus grits her teeth and yanks the steering wheel, screeching her car into a U-turn. She slams on the gas, rushing back to where the sheep-like arcanist was. But when she arrives, there's nothing but a few cotton plants swaying in the
I
breeze.
should have minded my own damn business.
She turns the wheel again, harder this time. Tires screech as she makes another U-turn and drives off. In the distance, the sun dips behind the hills. Her vision is fading. She switches on the headlights. As expected, the light is too dim to make up for her night blindness. She can hardly see a thing. A hard brake. Unfortunately, it's too late to stop the crash. To be continued. Next chapter. I think I missed somebody. Yeah. There we go.
Before we left, TTT was telling me an urban myth about Texas.
Huh, sounds about right. What's the story about?
The story starts off in the typical way. A man was driving down a long Texas road when he saw a girl hitchhiking. He offered her a lift and a piece of chocolate. The man dropped the girl off at a cemetery and drove on. It was late at night, so he was hoping to reach his destination quickly. Soon after, he saw a funeral procession going down the road. The photo of the dead seemed familiar. Curiosity came over him,
Haha!
and he followed him to the
Nomadic Welcome in!
cemetery. A piece of chocolate.
Yeah, I'm loving it. Just had some Wawa recently. Currently playing some Reverse 1999. It's a gacha game. A lot of visual novel style stuff and a lot of like very weird like Twilight style stories or not Twilight, more like what's the old like mysteries of the type of thing stories. Anyway, I'm enjoying it a lot. The stories get really wild. Welcome in. How's your streams going? How's your Christmas time going?
Give me a moment. I have to take this. It's from the
Do
foundation.
you not like the stories, or do you not like the spending money stuff? This one's not too bad on the money. You can do without it if you want to. A lot of people do. Voice on the other side is as calm as ever.
Timekeeper, this is an emergency notice. The
Ah,
Xeno base in
okay,
Texas,
okay.
USA has conducted a large-scale evacuation.
I did see you were doing something special on Twitter. Giving out gifts or something? Or maybe just something else special?
Xeno has not yet responded regarding their actions. Should you encounter any difficulties on your trip there, please contact headquarters immediately.
Understood.
Despite these developments, your mission remains the same. Contact U2 editor Barbara, who was last seen near Route 77 collecting information. and find Erd's current whereabouts through her.
Okay.
Since Atu editors use a special communication channel, her current location is still unknown. We'll be in touch as soon as there's any new information.
So, Barbara, that sheep girl, is a contact of theirs. Okay, okay. Holiday treats. Okay. Well, maybe I'll... Okay. Reverse 1999 definitely has a different story that's a bit out of the standard. Something more I'd expect out of, like, seinen anime rather than, like, dark shonen. A lot more of the talking. But a lot of it does references to, like, we've gotten some really cool ones which were like references to like 80s movies and stuff like that. This one is very much like another one of those.
Any questions, Timekeeper?
No worries though, you don't have to play everything.
No. Thank you.
All the best then.
The communication ends. Clearly looks thoughtful.
What did they say?
There was a mass evacuation at the Xeno base in Texas.
What's that all about? They called me 2 days ago, saying that Red 38 was still under routine maintenance in their armament factory. But now, all of a sudden, they're gone? How am I going to get my Red 38 back now, huh?
Oh, she left her... So she has kind of like a mini airplane that she flies around using her Arcanist abilities. And apparently she had that under maintenance in Texas. And now they did a mass evacuation? Oh, thank you so much, Hoovie. Thank you so much. Yeah, get some good sleep. Have a great time, especially if I don't see you again before Christmas. Have a great happy Hanukkah. You too.
If they hadn't taken her away for inspection, we wouldn't be traveling in this little car, wasting all day on the road.
The operator only mentioned an evacuation. It's still possible that some of them have stayed behind to keep the factory running. If you're worried about Red 38, we can take a detour there. It's in Chisos. The town isn't far from here.
Lilia squirms in her seat.
Hey, mister, can you take us to the cheeses? It's just a little detour.
He taps his fingers rhythmically on the steering wheel.
Girls, I don't know why y'all are here. But whether it's just for a bit of adventure or for business, I gotta tell you, something ain't right in that town. We've all heard the stories. Scratching sounds on car roofs, animal bits stuck to car grills, and those people in black robes running around. It's all too weird for me.
Give the ghost stories a rest. Look, if you're trying to negotiate a higher price, at least be a little smart about it, instead of trying to spook us with a few tall tales.
You got me all wrong. Who in their right mind would throw away the cash in their hand unless they were forced to? Benjamins are good and all, but they ain't worth my life. Ain't no way I'm taking you there, no matter how much cash you throw at me.
Why? Were you the driver in that ghost story?
No.
Have you seen these things happen yourself? Come on! It's just a little detour. It won't even cost you much fuel.
He clenches his hands tightly around the steering wheel, his knuckles turning white from the pressure.
Sir?
You see that? It's fogging up.
Thick, milky fog envelops the car. The driver pulls over.
Ain't no way this fog is natural. We shouldn't go any further. I'm stopping right here.
Ugh, fine. I'll drive. Swap seats with me.
No! Nobody get out of the car.
Why?
Are you kidding me? You haven't heard the stories, have you? Then what in the hell are you even doing here? When the fog rolls in on Route 77, you should always stay in the car. All kinds of terrible things hide in the fog. Some folks say they saw giant white crocodiles. Others say they saw dead bodies hanging from trees. Ain't nobody leaving this car. Not until the fog's gone.
Screech! He's interrupted by a drawn-out scraping on the roof of the car.
Is that?
Oh, come on! Don't tell me you're scared of this stuff.
No response.
Fainted.
A strange atmosphere spreads inside the car as they sit and listen to the scraping on the roof. But this is nothing compared to what happened at the Green Lake campsite. Finally, the scraping stops and a few black and white figures dart past the windows.
I see. This looks like the work of a mumus. It's a critter commonly seen in the southern US. When they're frightened, they produce a fog-like gas from their respiratory trumpet.
So that sound is just some critter scratching along on the roof.
Lily opens the door.
At this rate, I won't get my Red 38 back for another month. Well, I always wanted to try this. Help me move this guy. And you'll have to give up your passenger seat, Capitan.
I know what you're thinking, but do you have a US driver's license? Or any driver's license at all, for that matter?
What do I need that for? I can fly a broom and even do all those maneuvers. That takes more skill than driving a car, don't you think?
You do understand the traffic rules, though?
Compared to flying, driving a car is child's play. Just look at the number of drivers compared to pilots in the world.
Vert not giving her anything.
Now, where do we start?
She glances at the dashboard in front of her. This doesn't look like the interior of an SU-01BE, minor issue. She thinks back to her training.
Start both engines. Keep the tachometer at 70%. Here's the nose wheel steering, the position indicator for the joystick, the throttle lever. And these are for the flaps. No, that's not right. We're in a car, not a flying machine.
Click. The rear seat passenger quietly fastens her seatbelt.
Let's just get out, Capitan. Can't wrap my head around this hunk of metal.
Good decision.
If these critters are responsible for this fog, our solution is simple. We drive them away. Let's go.
She opens the door. Thick fog outside rushes in like a tide. To be continued. Baby broadcaster. They get out of the car and step onto the asphalt road. Barely perceptible moisture fills the air. Mist is pervasive, even filling their ears and nostrils. A faint breeze rushes along their faces, like a spiderweb blowing in the wind. A flash of insight comes to her from some distant, unreachable place.
What is it, Capitan?
Someone's casting arcane skills nearby.
Baby cries. The crying of a baby throbs faintly in her ears like an insect bite.
Do you hear that? Sounds like a crying baby.
Better go take a look.
The grass is rustling, as if something is moving nearby.
You know, a Texan soldier once told me about a notorious bandit back in his hometown many years ago. He would record the sound of a crying baby and play it outside the homes of single mothers. Then he'd wait, ready to attack them if any of them opened their door to look for the baby.
Yes, but the actions of one man don't negate all other calls for help.
Of course not. It's just a reminder to be ready for anything. We're close now. Prepare yourself.
Got it.
Grass sways and the faint crying stops. Fog grows thicker.
Burton, over here!
A broken flashlight lies on the ground. Damage looks recent. Not far away, they see a foot in a black shoe and a pale ankle disappearing under purple fabric. A frail woman tightly cradles a swaddled infant, her body curled up and trembling with fear.
Are you alright, miss?
The maid turns her head. Her face is pale, as if all the blood had been drained from it.
Finally.
Someone, please help me. These critters won't let me leave. Every time I try, they knock me back. My baby's starving and crying. If you hadn't come, I really don't know what I would have done.
Are they saying coom? Coom, coom, Critter makes a wary sound.
Do you mean these Moomus? I've never read about them attacking anyone in any reports. In fact, they're known for being rather timid.
Reports don't necessarily capture the whole story, Capitan. Look at them. They don't seem very timid to me.
Ooh. The Momus before them opens its mouth wide, revealing its sharp white teeth.
Careful, it's going to attack.
Maybe we're doing a lot of plant missions this time.
So many things that I haven't seen.
I will remember your
Buff
sacrifice.
Jessica
Crew, gather round.
doing a tag.
I'm scared. Hold my hand. Want to hit the wave? Crew, gather round. Come on in, water's fine.
Keep going. For our dream, comrade.
The creatures scatter, grass rustling as they flee.
They always run off so quickly.
The woman pulls herself up off the ground and brushes the dirt from her skirt.
Are you alright? Did you get a good look at them? Those slippery little things look like seals, don't they? They always jump on passing cars and rub their flat hind legs on the roof, making that coarse, scraping sound. Amazing creatures, aren't they? These little fearmongers.
Wind swoops across the plains, dispersing the fog. Woman's face flushes red and she sways slightly in the breeze.
But they are, in fact, easily frightened. The slightest movement could startle them. That's why it's foggy all year around here. Many of my guests have trouble finding their way to the motel. Are you ladies looking to check in at the motel?
Motel?
Yes, Tuesday's Motel. If you're looking for a comfortable bed for the night, it's the place to go. Anyway,
Nice.
thank you so much for saving us. I owe you one.
She pats the swaddled baby.
Excuse me. Are you the maid at Tuesday's Motel?
Oh, I almost forgot to introduce myself. Folks around here call me Tuesday. Hey, Tuesday, over here. Hey, Tuesday, breakfast for one, please. Tuesday, Tuesday. Oh, ain't we all like horses? And our names like the reins pulling at us.
She looks through the two of them over.
Do you need a place to stay, ladies?
Thank you for your kindness, but our driver's still in the car. We can't just leave him there.
And our luggage and travel documents are still in the trunk, along with our cash too. Let's head back now that the fog has cleared.
Shall I lead the way?
You?
She looks the maid up and down suspiciously.
What were you doing out here alone anyway?
I was waiting for a guest. It's been 2 hours and they still haven't shown up. I thought, rather than waiting here, I would pay you back for helping me. I assume you parked near Route 77? Let me take you there.
Setting sun scatters its light, illuminating the dogwood cotton plants in the fields.
That coward.
Car is gone. Nothing remains but a few scattered pieces of luggage.
He just threw out our luggage and took off.
At least he didn't take the luggage with him.
Are you going to thumb a ride with all these bags? I'd advise against that. Especially here. You've seen those movies, right? Bad things can happen on the road out here. There are a lot of smugglers around these days.
There's a clear concern in her voice.
Did you say your motel wasn't far from here?
Yes. Come this way. There's an easy trail that won't dirty your shoes. Don't worry. It ain't far.
That's not my worry, ma'am. Ha ha ha. Not a big place. A walk isn't far indeed. Before long, they're standing in front of the motel.
When night falls and the signs are lit, a weary traveler may find a comfortable place to rest here.
Under the shade of the neem trees, the porch awaits its owner, darkening in the fading sunlight.
Welcome to Tuesday's Motel, ladies.
Was invited here, all given a place to call their own. We're making good progress, I guess, so far. Front desk, Tuesday's Motel. Maid stands behind the front desk in the motel lobby. She's checking in her new guests.
That'll be $25 altogether. Will that be on card or cash?
Cash, please.
The maid holds up the passport, comparing the information on it.
Hey, do you know if there's an armament factory in the town nearby?
An armament factory?
She studies Lilia's outfit and smiles as she responds.
Yes, there is one. Would you like a map?
She opens a drawer, pulls out a map, and hands it to her.
If you plan on visiting, make sure to return early. It can be a difficult walk in the dark.
Lilia finds the town labeled Chisos on the map.
Doesn't seem far from here.
It's about an hour's walk. I'd recommend leaving tomorrow morning. It's getting late. It's best not to be outside at night.
Thanks, but I'm going right now.
She moves with swift purpose to the front door.
Nothing can go wrong as long as I have Red 38 by my side.
Call me if anything happens.
Like what? I can handle myself.
A rush of wind enters as Lily opens the door and makes her way out of the motel.
Don't worry. She'll check in later.
Here's your passport.
Have you been working here since the opening of this place?
Yes.
How's business?
The maid laughs softly.
Not too great. It's the off-season now. You don't seem too good at small talk. Is there anything you'd like to ask?
Oh, come on.
I do have one question. Have you seen a sheep-headed arcanist around?
She shows the information provided by the Foundation.
Oh, that's not a face you'd easily forget. And why are you looking for this arcanist?
Looking for an editor of Utu.
Utu. I think I've heard of that before. That's a magazine specially made for arcanists, right? Well, I'm sorry to say that I've never met an arcanist with the head of a sheep. I can help you ask around if you...
Suddenly, the ceiling starts to tremble. The surge of arcane energy comes from above.
What? Sounds like something's going wrong upstairs. Sorry about that. Let's head up. Your room's on the second floor, too. Then we can take a look at what's happened.
Sounds good.
Just so you know, the guests upstairs are a little...
The maid hesitates.
Well, you can stay behind me if you like.
Woo! They're doing a good setup, all right.
How about it?
Voice echoes from down the hall.
It's just a simple room swap. I'm sure it won't be no trouble at all for a generous lady such as yourself.
That's the guest staying in room 210. She arrived here the night before yesterday. She was injured when she came in. Seems it didn't take her long to recover. But I don't quite understand why she insists on swapping rooms with the other guests. If she does the same to you, please call the front desk. I'll do my best to help.
Why didn't you offer her your help? She needs it more than I do.
Oh, things don't work like that here, miss. Everyone has their own secrets. With the variety of guests we get, it's best to keep your mouth shut, or else somebody will shut it for you. Although there are fewer bounty hunters around these days. My advice is to stay quiet if you don't want any trouble, especially if you're dealing with an armed mercenary. You know how things like that play out down here in Texas, don't you?
Understood.
Or do you have something else in mind?
Is your room bigger and better than this one?
More lively voice chimes in.
That's the guest of room 218 speaking. She too is a young lady like you.
You remember all the guests and their room numbers?
You'd remember her too if she'd been staying in your motel for a month. Miss Kimberly's been here for just over that.
The maid quickly moves toward the source of the voice. The man before her looks haggard, his back slightly hunched, his eyes yellowed and cloudy.
Mirror. The mirror.
Mr. Stefan, are you coming out for some fresh air?
Everyone in the hallway turns to look at the maid.
Maid, you're just in time. I'd like to swap rooms with this Kimberly lady.
If Miss Kimberly and yourself have come to an agreement, then I see no reason why you can't do so.
The man makes a dry, rasping sound, his vocal cords trembling unnaturally. It's like he's speaking for the first time in his life.
Timekeeper?
Have we met?
This response seems to trigger something. His expression twists.
Vertin?
That's me. Do I know you, sir?
I saw you. In the newspaper. The newspaper, that vacuum bomb. Did you see the explosion? You must have, because you made it happen. You dropped the bomb, you murderers. But have any of you been brought to justice? No, not a single one. Instead, you were congratulated and given medals. Revolting. Disgusting. Why were you rewarded for murder?
He blabbers on, working himself into a frenzy.
Meanwhile, I'm stuck in this hotel. Lord, is this what my life has come to?
But we've never met before. I don't even know your name, sir.
Of course you don't know me. But I'll get the truth out. I'll expose your crimes to the public.
The man's deranged rant continues, his knuckles turning white as he clenches his fists.
That rotting woman in the tub, that sheep-headed monster, and that one inside the mirror.
Sheep-headed, you say? Wait, sir.
Shh, don't startle him. He's totally crazy.
I should have known it was all fake. If they're giving out medals for killing people, then I should have one too. That shiny medal. It should be mine!
He bites down hard on his lip, his cloudy eyes staring straight ahead. He steps forward.
Stay back!
But the man has already lunged at them. Oh. Not that it matters much, but I'll use blue team this time.
Keep the sample. A new hypothesis.
Isn't that...
The benefits of field mapping. Don't touch the device.
Which one hurts? This one or this one?
A good point. No other study could show you this.
Alright, it wasn't much.
Okay, but what?
Single blow from the butt of the mercenary shotgun knocks the man out. The maid breathes heavily, face slightly flushed.
I'm ever so sorry about all this, Miss Furton. You've only just arrived, and you've had to deal with so much trouble already.
Oh, it's no trouble. In fact, I'm glad that we came here. That man said he'd seen a sheep-headed monster.
Oh, that. He's quite delusional. Surely you won't take the ramblings of a madman for a fact, will you? He's been peculiar since the day he checked in. He spasms and twitches, and pays little attention to his surroundings. It's best not to have a face-to-face conversation with him. Who knows what he'll do next?
Hey, you, maid. Enough chatter. You have a job to do.
The girl impatiently interrupts their conversation.
I've accepted the offer this, Miss Argus made. What's next? What should we do?
Apologies, Miss Kimberly. I'll be with you in a moment. Could the both of you wait for me at the front desk? The rooms need a tidy up before they can be occupied. You may take a rest on the couch in the lobby while you wait. Miss Furton, I'm afraid I'll have to leave you here. Do you mind going to your room alone?
Not at all.
Suitcase sways with her steps as she heads to her room. Once again, the air pulses with the flow of arcane energy, compelling her to look back.
Ma'am, you can just leave the room as it is. If you clean it, it'll interfere with my work. You might want to check on that Kimberly lady. She looks starved. She wouldn't stop shaking.
A cluster of emerald light sparks in the mercenary's left eye, scattering like a bird unfurling its brilliant tail feathers.
Oh, Miss Kimberly, would you like something to eat?
I'm fine.
The guest face visibly sours.
I agreed to change rooms, didn't I? Why are you two still mocking me?
She turns her attention to the mercenary.
You're not exactly a pleasant person to do business with. You know that, right?
Well, darn. What got you so riled up? It's too late now. A deal's a deal. You can backpedal if you like, but it ain't wise to mess with the girl packing heat down here in Texas. Later, Miss Kimberly.
Mercenary's eye gleams as she turns the lock and enters her hard-won room.
Her arcane
Humans are not immune to the storm inside the suitcase. Alright. Part 5, a sudden message. "207, Tuesday's Motel." Door creaks as she opens it. Nostrils are hit with a distinct scent of floor wax. She flips the switch, and after a brief hum of electricity, the room lights up.
That man, Stefan, he clearly knows something. But he appears to be rather mentally unstable, and he's hostile towards me. Madam Z cautioned me on this. I must be extra careful when dealing with people like him. Should make sure I have a backup plan in place before proceeding. Still no sign of Lilia.
She tries contacting her on her communication device, but the line is busy. She tries again, but still no luck.
Did she get in trouble?
Suddenly, the phone on the nightstand rings. It vibrates violently.
Hello?
Telephone goes tap, 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 tap.
Hello?
A series of strange tapping sounds come from the other side of the end of the line.
Is that Miss Tuesday?
The short and long sounds are distinct. They form a certain rhythm.
Oh. I think I know what this is. That's an R. E. S. P. O.
The phone is abruptly hung up, but it doesn't matter. Thoughts are complete.
Respond.
A message conveyed through Morse code. A means of communication that sacrifices efficiency for safety. It's commonly used in intelligence, but rarely for anything else. Why would there be such a message in a motel? Ring, ring, ring. Telephone rings again. She picks it up without hesitation.
Hello? Is this Miss Burton?
Miss Tuesday?
Yes. I have an announcement for you. There's a service outage going on in the area. Some critters nibbled through the cables of a nearby signal tower. But all our internal phone lines are still running well.
I see.
It should be repaired soon since we share the signal tower with that armament factory. I apologize for any inconvenience this may cause. I'll bring you dinner up later. It's on the house.
Ask about the strange phone call.
There's something I want to ask you. I received a phone call earlier.
Oh, Miss Kimberly was also prank-called not long ago. I suppose it's a critter's doing. You know how mischievous they can be. And since they have decent smarts, they can play some pretty nasty tricks.
Oh my. In theory, a group of monkeys could write Shakespeare's complete works on a typewriter if given the time. But would this happen in reality?
I don't think that's what made the phone call.
Well, Miss Burton, this is what I understand to be the truth. Is there anything else I can help you with?
I'm good for now. Thank you.
As she hangs up, she feels a light touch on her neck, like a feather brushing against her skin. She reflexively touches her neck. It's a spider's web. She follows it to the corner of the ceiling.
Spiders?
A spider falls onto the surface of the wooden cabinet. It moves its slender legs, crawling from one shadowy spot to another. As it moves, sparks ignite in the air. Then, in the glow of an arcane skill, she can see everything clearly.
Is that an arcane array? The pattern's familiar. I've seen it somewhere before.
The surface of the bedside cabinet has a rough engraving on it. She traces the markings with her fingers, trying to discern their texture and direction. The array burns her fingertips, and in that momentary pain, memories are awakened.
Yes, I've definitely seen this before. When I was in school.
This is an extremely dangerous array, one that you are prohibited from using. It can go easily beyond the caster's control.
Oh?
We study Arcanum and tame it for our use, but once its power surpasses our limits, it is highly likely that it will lead to our own destruction. I need you all to remember that. It'll be in your next exam.
The students put their heads down. The sound of scribbling fills the classroom.
Burton, are you listening? The instructor just said it'd be in the next exam. If you like, you can check my notes.
Top student nervously clutches her notebook in her hands.
Oh, thank you. My mind was somewhere else. Why have they made it a key point of the exam if we can't even use it?
It's a warning if you see it in real life, apparently.
I see. They didn't teach us about arrays so that we could use them. They wanted us to be able to identify them so that we could avoid danger.
She looks out the window. It's getting dark.
It's highly likely to cause an explosion, or other severe consequences, if I act too hastily.
The array glows faintly.
Lilia still hasn't come back. I must find someone else to help.
What qualities should an ally have? Decisiveness, efficiency, some means of offense or self-defense. A sudden knock on the door interrupts her thoughts. She opens it to a familiar face.
Hey, we met back in the hallway, remember? Now it's your turn.
What exactly do you want from me, miss?
The mercenary raises an eyebrow.
Well, it's simple. The person I'm looking for is right here in this motel, and I'm scouring every corner of it to find her. Look, Missy, I don't want to make things hard for you. Name your price, and we can talk.
If this person's gone to such great lengths to avoid you, perhaps she doesn't want to see you at all.
Well, that ain't my concern, is it? A job's a job. Whether it's catching a cheating spouse, tracking someone down, or delivering a letter, it don't make no difference to me.
Very well. But you'll have to look elsewhere, I'm afraid. There's no one but me in this room.
Look, I know what I'm doing. How about you turn around and take a good look around the room?
So you can knock me out as soon as I turn my back to you.
Mercenary gives a hearty laugh.
Missy, if that were my plan, I wouldn't have spent all this time talking to you. I much prefer to do my business pleasantly. I don't like to see things get too ugly.
I see.
Fine. If you don't want to turn around, I'll tell you what I see.
The mercenary squints, that same emerald light shimmering in her eye.
You've burned your finger there. You should be more careful.
This is...
Don't look like a fire burn to me. What was it? Some arcane energy? Looks like this room has a couple secrets, too.
Mercenary shifts her gaze to the room further away.
So you touched an arcane array, and its power burned you. How's that for a guess? Pretty close, huh?
She examines the mercenary's burning emerald eye.
This is my arcane skill. It allows me to see the traces that people leave behind. That's how I get these jobs, you see. Ain't nothing happening that don't leave a trace. If there ain't no trace, then it never happened. I came to your room to look for evidence, not a person.
I see. You want to know whether the person you're tracking has been here, right?
Now we're talking.
Before I let you investigate the room, I have one more question. You take jobs from people nearby, don't you?
Of course. It's obvious, ain't it?
She doesn't quite get the response she wants. In this familiar silence, the experienced mercenary smells an imminent deal. It's a mixture of caution and trust, anticipation and doubt.
You seem more intrigued by my profession than my peculiar request. You're in trouble, ain't you? Then let me formally introduce myself. The name's Argus. I'm 26, and I have extensive experience as a mercenary.
Let's make a deal. You may search this room all you like, and I won't say a thing. But in return, I'd like your assistance in my own investigation.
How, exactly?
Can you tell when that array on the cupboard was drawn?
Argus slings her shotgun over her shoulder and crouches down beside the nightstand. After a brief examination, she gives her assessment.
Less than 24 hours ago.
In other words, this was left behind by the last guest who stayed in this room.
Or by Tuesday. Argus shakes her head.
Can't say for certain.
Glass bottles. It's like this one might have some combat. Armament Factory, Chisos. Good, we get to see what happens to Lilia. The empty factory is cold and damp.
Let's see what you've got in there for me.
She wanders around the factory, eventually spotting a large crate covered in postage stamps in the receiving room. The crate is nailed tightly shut. She squints, having only the moonlight to help her read words on the box. Red 38, Lilia.
Hey, buddy!
She squats down and inspects the crate. After tapping it a few times, she frowns.
They just left her in a wooden box. What kind of safekeeping is this? Anyway, I don't have much time. I'll settle that with them later.
She grabs the crate and tries to lift it. It doesn't budge. It's bound by arcanum.
Alright, at least they bothered to put a gravity ritual on it.
Black footsteps echo behind her.
Are you also preparing to evacuate?
Lilia turns around. A slender girl stands before her, a basket in her arms.
Ah, perfect timing. Are you in charge here?
The girl looks at her up and down before giving her a sweet smile.
No, I'm not in charge of anything, Lieutenant. I'm just passing through. I'm Kayla, by the way. I heard some rattling here and thought some of those kids might have come back to steal weapons again. These things aren't cheap, and the kids know it.
Kids stealing from the military? Huh, that's a new one. Where are the guards here?
Oh, didn't they tell you, Lieutenant?
The girl sounds surprised.
The army's stationed here started evacuating a month ago. There aren't many of them around these days.
Evacuating?
The Foundation's report was correct. Lilia senses impending danger.
Then where can I find the soldiers that are still here?
You're new in town, right? Did you see a bar on your way here? That's where the Xeno soldiers spend their nights drinking. You might want to check there first. That's probably where you'll find him.
Him? What does he look like?
You don't know what a Xeno soldier looks like?
Like every other Xeno soldier. They all look the same to me. You'll know him when you see him.
She pauses, looking the pilot up and down.
But I have to tell you, the bar doesn't like outsiders. Have you heard of the Order of Enlightenment? It's an occult society. Very active these days. They were preaching in this town just a few days ago. Today is their day of prayer.
And, what does that have to do with me?
The bar you're going to is where they gather to pray, that's all I know. If you're going up there, please, be careful.
Huh, thanks.
Lilia turns and leaves. The girl watches her as she goes.
May the sufferer watch over you, great sufferer. By your decree, the glory of former days shall grace our present path.
She whispers a prayer. As she claps her hands together, the black facets of her ring shimmer. Oh my. Baron Chisos.
Great sufferer, by your decree, the glory of former days shall grace our present path.
We dedicate our souls and minds to you. We seek the well-being of our people in your name.
Solemn atmosphere fills the bar. A small group is gathered under the dim lights, some in black robes, others in everyday clothes. They lean on each other like brothers and sisters. The man leading the prayer raises his glass and gives a toast.
May the sufferer watch over you. Under the grace, may our cups overflow. To the sufferer!
To the sufferer! To the sufferer. The bar door flings open.
Huh? Odd time for a stranger to come.
The young pilot looks around.
No crashing the party, am I?
She heads straight to the bar where the shelves glitter with various bottles.
Napa Valley, Californian Red, Kentucky whiskey. Ha! There's a lot of good stuff here. One vodka, straight. The best you got.
It ain't business hours, lady.
Wait. She knows that sound. Someone's cocking a gun just inches away from her.
Hey, all I did was ask for a drink. Is this how you treat your customers?
As I said, We ain't serving you.
Why? Don't you have vodka? Fine, I can settle for whiskey. Have to learn to take what we can get, eh?
You ain't getting that either.
Seriously? You don't have any whiskey?
She glances at the whiskey bottle lining the shelves.
I'm starting to understand why Zeno evacuated. What's the point of living in a town where there's no real liquor? Especially for those drunkards.
What's a Xeno lieutenant doing here anyway? No alcohol fuel in that warehouse of yours?
Patrons laugh.
Huh. You sure have some interesting drinking habits down here. But I'm curious, what did the sufferer promise you to make you all change your... I mean, that's quite an achievement, especially here in Texas.
She turns, narrowly avoiding a bullet. It whizzes past your hair.
Oh, so we're doing this now? Are we?
Alright, back to green.
Join with us, comrades. I admire your courage.
Want to hit the waves?
Heart scared.
It's just skipping stones.
Alright, round two.
Crew, gather round. Want to hit the waves? Hold my hand.
She doesn't even know the poison buff.
I've already said that Sotheby doesn't need a bodyguard.
Bottles crash to the floor, splashing alcohol all over the bar.
Look, I don't care what you're doing here. Just tell me where that Xena soldier went.
She looks down at the bar owner slumped over the counter.
What Xeno soldier?
Man straightens to open his swollen eyes.
Don't play dumb with me.
Oh, that soldier. He's a complete idiot, that one. It's obvious that Xeno has abandoned him. But he insists that they left him here. Because they believe that only he could keep the warehouse safe. Why are you looking for him now? If you decided to ditch him in the first place.
Listen, I can tell you guys aren't the biggest fans of Xena, but that has nothing to do with me. I'm just here to get my stuff back.
He takes a labored breath.
Fine. If you insist on finding him, try your luck on the outskirts of town. He might be drinking there.
Thanks.
She steps over the unconscious man beside her and leaves the bar. Read the report. St. Pavlov Foundation report number XXX, ton of them. From Field Investigation Team Andreas Sylvester to Office of the Vice President, St. Pavlov Foundation. Dear Madame Vice President, after a month of silence, my team has identified several Manus Vindictae agents operating in the southern United States. At least 3 have been traveling between Dallas, Austin, and Houston. They are likely establishing information and supply channels for the Order of Enlightenment. Several others are active along Route 77, frequently using aliases and disguise potions to keep their identities and numbers hidden. However, at least 5 false identities have been confirmed. Please find detailed information on these agents, including attached to this report. I believe these findings further substantiate your hypothesis that the Order of Enlightenment is planning to carry out an unprecedented arcane ritual. Additionally, informant reports indicate that a spy known as Ms. Grace is active in Texas. See attached document. We await your directive on whether to pursue further surveillance of this individual. May the peace be with us. Field Investigation Team Leader Andreas Sylvester. Reply to the Field Investigation Team. Thank you for your diligent efforts in pursuit of peace. Regarding Ms. Grace, I am fully aware of the situation. Given the unknown intentions of the spy, I recommend a strategy of non-interference. Allow her to proceed in her actions for further observation. May the peace be with us. Vice President Constantine of the St. Pavlov Foundation.
We can't say for sure if this ritual was created by the last guest. Fact is, you can find all kinds of unusual markings in this motel. Most of them less than a month old. Very recent indeed. The maid said that there aren't many tourists these days, so my guess is that a group of skilled arcanists have left their work in every room. Based on the markings I've seen so far, there were about 3 to 5 people in this group.
And was there a sheep-headed arcanist among them?
Well, that, I don't... What I can say, though, is that there was a sheep living in here. I saw some hoof prints on the hallway floor. It looked like someone had stayed in this motel with a sheep. Sounds pretty odd, but I suppose it ain't too strange given the local farmland. But I'm sure this will catch your attention.
What?
We all know that sheep walk on 4 hooves, but the hoof prints I saw were different. They were small and delicate, and most importantly, followed the movement pattern of a human. Judging by the trail, the owner of the hoof prints was about the size of a slender kid, maybe 5 feet tall.
This description exactly matches the Foundation's report.
That's it. That's the one I'm looking for.
Don't I know it? They can question my morals, but nobody can question my competence. So, may I enter your room now, Miss Verdon?
Please.
Now, let's start with this little thing. The carvings are new. No sign of woodworm damage or moisture absorption. The splinters along the edge are extremely sharp.
She dips her finger into a red crumbly residue.
Is this dried blood?
She rubs the granules between her finger and thumb, reducing them to a fine powder.
Blood was used as the medium for this array. The circle isn't fully closed here, and the lines are a bit uneven. Whoever drew this doesn't seem to be an expert. You know how to deal with this, right?
All you have to do is ask, boss. You might be surprised.
We need to destroy it as quickly as possible. I think it's been left by a dangerous occult group.
Hold on.
She places a pillow over the wood and pulls the trigger. After a faint gunshot, the lingering light goes out. Squelch. Fresh blood oozes from the array, settling in the faded carvings.
Is that blood?
The mercenary, unfazed, dips her finger into the red liquid and sniffs it.
Yep. The blood of an arcanist. So it can't be Kayla's.
Can you discern the owner's identity?
I ain't all-knowing. I can't identify people by their blood. No, I'll need more than just blood to find out who was here.
She fishes out a dusty sheepskin journal from the gap between the cabinet and the wall. She flips through the pages.
We are the beginning and the original source of metals. Through us, the highest tincture of art is brewed. There is neither a spring nor water like mine. I heal and help both the rich and the poor. Yet I am full of hurtful poison. What the hell does that mean?
It's a quote from a text on alchemy.
All challenges will be resolved with the provision of sufficient and high-quality materials and the precise execution of the array. But where do we find these materials?
She continues to flick through the journal, releasing the accumulated alchemical residue on its pages into the air. On the last page, tortured words are scrawled on the paper. It looks like something a criminal would write in their final moments before their death sentence.
What was once sundered shall reunite.
Nose burns as barely visible sparks heat in the air.
I've seen this handwriting before.
And here, my phone number.
He hands over a $1 bill with a string of numbers scrawled along the blank space. Mercenary pulls out the crumbled bill from her pocket, pairing the handwriting with that in the journal.
Yep, this is definitely the same.
Bang.
That sound. It's a Flying Arrow M1903 pistol. Kimberly? What's wrong with her now? I better go check it out, boss. Something don't seem right. You coming? That Kimberly must have run into something.
Ooh. Face reality. Thick carpet on the hallway is unusually enough to dampen any sounds, but no amount of soundproofing could stop the sound of a gunshot from echoing through this place. At its source, Stephen's limp, twitching body lies on the floor. There's a gaping hole in his head. She's trembling in fear.
Is he still alive?
Just when I thought you couldn't get any dumber.
Is this a suicide?
He pulled out the gun and shot himself in the head. His brains splattered on the walls and flowed onto the floor.
Her muttering is almost a confession. Argus kneels down to examine the body.
There's gunshot residue and powder burns near the wound. Gunpowder particles on his fingers. There's no doubt. He died from a gunshot wound. The bullet was fired from the pistol in his hand and went straight through his skull. But this ain't just any pistol. It's a Xeno pistol. You've got yourself in some serious trouble, Missy.
It wasn't me. Her face is still pale, but she manages to stop her shaking.
I'm just an innocent, sad, terrified girl who just happened to pass by.
Well, Miss Innocent, Sad, and Terrified, if you want to prove your innocence, start by telling us what happened here. And mind you, I will call you out if you lie. The evidence here will tell me what's true and what ain't.
She points to her eye.
If you're so clever, then why are you asking me? Just figure it out yourself.
Her protestation is weak. She quickly gives in.
All right, I'll tell you. This madman has been harassing me. Ever since I moved into this place, I'd often seen him pacing around in the hallway.
Oh. I wonder if it's not been... Yeah, I'll just do that.
Day and night.
Oops.
He'd stomp around out here. He didn't care if anyone else was trying to sleep. I thought he must have had a lot on his mind, like he was troubled or something. So I asked him what happened. His deep, sunken eyes were bloodshot. Every fiber of his being screamed that something was wrong with him. Sir, if you have any problems, there are many ways to solve them.
but pacing in the hallway isn't one of them. Plus, it disrupts everyone's sleep. I swear I didn't say anything too harsh, but he was just downright rude.
Get the hell away! Get out of my face!
Excuse me. That's pretty rude, you know. I had no desire to argue with the madman. Thankfully, the maid intervened when she heard what was going on. I have no idea what she said to him, but eventually they came to terms. He stopped pacing the hallway from then on. That was a relief. I'm sure the other guests would agree. That maid can vouch for what I've said. Ask her yourselves. Not long after, I found a letter from Stefan on the floor of my room. It had been slid under my door. In the letter, he apologized for his behavior. Should I make peace with him? I thought. As I wondered, I took a look through the peephole. It was strange. I couldn't see a thing. It was pitch black out there. Is it broken? I wondered. Before I could dwell on it too much, the phone rang. I was startled, but it was just the front desk calling.
Hello, Miss Kimberly.
Is it dinner time already?
No. Is there an issue between Mr. Stefan and yourself?
She seemed hesitant to speak.
I know it's not my place to ask, but the situation is a little concerning. Mr. Stefan is standing at your door, his face pressed up against it. So
Oh, man.
I just want to confirm that everything's all right between you two.
And that's what happened.
Calm down, miss. It's all over now. Do you still have that letter with you?
Who'd hold on to that? I threw it out.
Argus quickly retrieves the crumpled piece of paper from the trash can. She smooths it out on her palm and read its contents.
Dear Ms. Kimberly, I've got a question already. How did he know your name? You didn't know each other well enough to have exchanged them, did you?
I'm the victim here, damn it! You can't interrogate me like this. But if you must know, maybe he heard it when my friend called me.
Your friend?
Why? What's so odd about that? A young girl like myself should never travel alone to places like this.
She continues in her indignation.
I need someone to make my bed and prepare my clothes and, most importantly, I need to eat. I wouldn't even be here if I weren't looking for...
She gasps, covering her mouth with her hand. But Argus isn't listening. She continues to read the letter aloud.
I want to apologize for my behavior earlier in the hallway.
Looks like a perfectly normal letter to me. No hints that this is from a man on the verge of a mental breakdown.
If you won't take my word for it, go ahead and ask the maid. She was there. She can vouch for me.
Please. We weren't accusing you of anything.
Argus lets out a laugh.
Though graphology has been criticized a lot these days, I gotta say, this looks more like a woman's handwriting to me.
So you mean Stefan was a woman?
Her aggression seems to dissipate as her eyes widen and her mouth drops.
You still with us, Missy? What I'm suggesting is that Mr. Stefan didn't write this letter, but a woman did. But that's just speculation. Chances are Mr. Stefan's handwriting was just a little feminine. I'll keep this letter for now. Back to my questions. If the story you told is true, then why are you at the scene of his death? Did you go looking for him, even after all the weird things he'd done?
I was hungry, okay? That's a good enough answer for you? I can't just starve myself.
Hungry? If I remember correctly, the motel offers room service, and you get 1 free meal a day, so even if you ain't got no money, you have enough food to get by.
What do you know?
She looks flustered.
I'm not eating one of those ham sandwiches.
Alright, so you've got some standards when it comes to food. Let's drop that. You were there when he fired the shot, right? What happened then? Take your time and think it through. There's no rush.
About 15 minutes ago, he rang my doorbell. I thought my friend had returned from town. She always brings something amazing with her, so I opened the door. The last thing I expected was to see Stefan standing there. Who'd have thought that he could get back on his feet so quickly after the beating he took?
What beating?
I was terrified when I saw him there. He towered over me, one hand on the doorframe and the other pushing against the door. I slammed the door shut. I thought he'd let go, but he didn't. The door closed on his fingers.
I understand now. I understand it all. You're with Zeno, aren't you?
His fingers were bent at a peculiar angle. It must have been painful, but he didn't seem to feel the pain at all. The fracturing of his fingers was no more painful than a mosquito bite to him.
You came to me and made me drop my guard so that one day you could turn me in for a bounty. But why me? Why are you doing this to me? It wasn't me who made the plan. It wasn't me who executed it. It wasn't me who pressed that damn button. All I did was expose their crime to the rest of the world. Tell me, why else would they want my head so desperately? In the meantime, the actual killers are treated as heroes. But I'm the hero. Me. But all my sorry ass gets is a lifetime of hiding out in some random motel in the middle of nowhere. This world is sick.
What the hell are you talking about?
Come on, drop the act. Right after you spoke to me, Vertin showed up at my door. Are you trying to tell me that that was just by chance?
Vertin? He totally ignored my question.
The world has fallen ill. I can see that now. The realm above truly does exist. How else would we have gotten the idea of a perfect heavenly realm? Obviously, it doesn't exist in this world.
I don't care. Even if that place does exist, it has nothing to do with you. Get out of the way! I'm closing the door.
But at least I get to decide when I step through that door, right?
I had no idea what he was talking about, and he didn't give me much chance to figure it out either.
I'm afraid your mission is doomed to fail, young lady.
What?
In that moment, a smile of relief came over his face, and without a moment's hesitation, he pressed the pistol against his temple and pulled the trigger. And you know the rest.
But he did it with his other hand? The approaching footsteps stop abruptly. They turn to the source. The maid stands before the group, showing just the right amount of surprise as her eyes fall upon the body.
What's going on in here?
This man killed himself.
Oh dear. There's blood everywhere. It'll be a lot of work to clean it all up, and with the weather being so hot, the room will soon start to smell. All the carpets have to go.
The maid lets out a long sigh, her tone tinged with annoyance.
Miss Tuesday, can I ask you a question?
Yes?
Have you ever had any guests who looked like or claimed themselves to be Manus Vindictae?
Manus Vindictae?
Her face flushes as she smiles faintly.
I'm not entirely sure what you mean. Could you explain in more detail?
Most of them dress in blue and black. Some drool a fair bit, and most of them can't speak in full sentences. The most notable feature is that they all wear masks shaped like hands. Have you seen any before?
Masks shaped like hands?
She taps her finger on her chin.
No, I've never had a guest who wore a hand-shaped mask. Never seen anyone in blue and black, either. But if an organization was going to do something in secret, I don't think they'd be too public about it.
Hey, lady.
Argus doesn't hesitate to interrupt the conversation.
Take me to his room.
She points the barrel of her gun at Stefan's corpse.
Oh, it shouldn't be too hard for you to find the room yourself, right, Miss Argus? After all, that's how you make a living. But I can just tell it to you. It's 214. You must be curious about that room. I'm surprised. You've been in almost every room in the motel, and you've been here for 2 days. You're like a child in your curiosity. This place would be much safer if you were the sheriff here. Anyway, I hope you can find that girl soon.
Standing before the bloody corpse, she looks down and gently adjusts the baby in her arms. Which... is that even a baby? We haven't seen it at all. Spider silk. Which...
Why do you want to go to Stefan's room exactly? Is it related to our investigation?
Well, of course, boss. I'm here looking for Kayla, just as you're looking for that sheep-headed...
She falls into an unusual silence.
What is it?
That arcanist you're looking for. Is her name Barbara?
You know her?
Yep. We met on Route 77. I just got done asking 2 men about Kayla's whereabouts, and saw that it was getting dark. My sight ain't so good at night, and the nights are long these days, so I was in a bit of a hurry, hoping to get somewhere with proper lights as fast as I could. That's when I saw her, Barbara, all alone by the road. Some jerk of a driver dumped her there, and she asked me for a ride. I turned her down. Heck, I could hardly see. She'd have been better off waiting for the next driver than riding with a blind bat like me, you know? But as I drove away, I changed my mind. She was too young to be left out there all by herself, so I turned back to get her. But when I arrived, she was already gone. There was nothing but a trail of hoof prints in the dirt. When I got to the motel, I saw those hoof prints again. I gotta say, I was kinda relieved to see them. At least she made it here safely.
And is she still here?
Well, I've never seen any hoof prints leaving the motel, but that don't mean she's still here. You gotta be mindful of what your mind picks up and what might slip you by. It's easy to ignore other evidence when what you've seen already fits your hypothesis. That being said, it's still likely that she's somewhere in the motel.
All right. Then let's look for her.
It seems we're in agreement. To room 214.
202. 203.
She counts the doors as they walk down the hallway. There's no 214. Oh. Does it change? Out of the corner of her eye, a flash of red catches her attention.
I've checked those too. Ain't much in them.
Argus, did you see a red door just now?
A red door?
Nothing. Must have been my imagination.
As they approach the end of the hallway, they spot room 214. The door is slightly ajar. Clearly Stephen left in a hurry. They enter. Thick curtains are pulled shut, blocking out almost all the light from the outside. They're hit with the stale, sour smell of old alcohol. The glow in Argus's eye flickers with the light of a faulty circuit.
Are you alright? Can you still see?
Don't worry about it. Ain't the first time this has happened. This eye issue runs in the family. It's the price we pay for having our arcane power.
The mercenary glances around the room, a slight frown on her face.
Now, what are we looking for, boss? People leave all kinds of evidence behind all the time. It'll be like wandering around in the woods without a compass if we don't know what we're looking for. So if you don't want to be inundated with meaningless clues, you need to give me some directions.
All right. First, I'd like to know what happened to Barbara. Second,
Fleeting images surface in her mind.
whether Manus Vindictae has been here, or anyone from that Order of Enlightenment. And last, about Mr. Stefan. The pistol he used was a Xeno military weapon, and he seemed to know about my relation to the vacuum bomb operation. It's likely that he once held a high rank within the Xeno military. I want to know why he came to this motel, and what happened to make him lose his mind here.
Lose his mind here? What makes you think he wasn't crazy already?
Xeno pays much more attention to its soldiers' mental well-being than any conventional military organization. It's because quite a few of them are arcanists. They're both Xeno's strength and weakness, so I'm inclined to think Mr. Stefan developed these mental health issues after entering the motel.
Huh. Is that so? I gotta say, I don't know much about all this military institution stuff. Right, so here's the plan. First, locate Barbara. Second, look for any signs of Manus Vindictae or the Order of Enlightenment. And third, find out how poor old Stefan lost his marbles. And of course, I've got my own business to deal with. Tracking down Kayla.
She starts to meticulously search the room.
Hey boss, I've got something.
There's a series of small but clear traces imprinted in the dust.
These footprints are from a spider. Looks like the little guy went back and forth along here quite a few times. I know this might not seem pertinent to our investigation, but it is worth noting. You ever seen a spider make a phone call?
I'm afraid I'm not interested in the movements of spiders right now.
Should be. Argus shrugs.
Come on, boss. Loosen up a little.
Drip, drip. Sound of dripping water echoes nearby.
Do you hear that? Sounds like dripping water.
With every drip, a water stains larger and larger on the wallpaper.
I'm sure it's just the motel plumbing.
But
The stain gradually takes the form of a hand. Its 5 fingers all clearly defined.
watch out!
Suddenly the hand pulls itself from the wall and slams down.
Step into the fairy ring.
Great. Upgrade that incantation.
A new hypothesis.
Throughout this one. Throughout this one. Hopefully we'll take
No other study could show you this.
Time to check my
slightly
calculations.
too weak.
How troublesome.
A good point.
It could be found.
The benefits of field mapping.
Oh, well, I guess it doesn't even matter.
The field work went smooth. I look forward to our next cooperation.
This place is definitely more than meets the eye.
I'm with you on that. There's just too much Arcanum-related weirdness going on here. Never seen so many arrays in a motel before.
But we've only found one.
In your room, yeah, but there are a load more. One room has them drawn from floor to ceiling. Looked like some kind of transformation array to me. I ain't no expert, so I can't say for sure.
What are they trying to do?
Who knows?
She brings the conversation to an abrupt end and continues searching the room.
Oh, boss. You might be interested in this.
She peers under the bed.
It's another one. Just like the others.
A huge array lies underneath the bed. It's scattered with dark crystals. The design is familiar.
I've seen this before. It was also drawn in that parchment notebook. This is indeed a transformation array. But it's not in its full form.
They were trying something. Check it out.
She plucks a hair from the carpet.
This is hair from the mane of a howler lion. And there are some other materials around it too. Not exactly sure what they are though. They're too finely ground, but one thing's for sure. Someone held a ceremony here, and for some reason, it didn't work out for them.
This is important. The Foundation needs to know about this.
The air is silent.
Argus?
Mercenary doesn't respond. She's still staring at the strand of hair between her fingers. It's chestnut colored.
This is Kayla's hair. She was here, in this room, or at least someone who came into contact with her.
The phone rings, cutting her off. Humans are known for their rationality and efficiency. Man lies in the grass just outside of town. He's strumming a guitar and humming out to himself.
Ah, this is the life. A warm, beautiful night, a cold drink, and no one but me and the stars in the sky. Maybe I'll just lay here till morning.
It's a young Xeno soldier. His eyes hazy from intoxication. He raises his flask to the twinkling stars above.
A good night with good drinks! I wish every day could be like this.
A dark figure looms over him, but in his blurred vision, he can't make out who it is.
Hey, buddy, you're blocking my view.
Huh? Are you stargazing?
The soldier blinks. He knows that voice.
Has anyone ever told you that you sound awfully like Lieutenant Lilia, the rider of Red 38? Heard of her? No one can fly like her.
Of course.
The soldier concentrates, getting the figure's face a little more into focus.
Oh my... You even look like her!
Keep playing dumb, and I'll show you what it's like to have her kick your ass.
The soldier's drunken eyes finally focus to see Lilia herself, a look of displeasure on her face. He stumbles to his feet, dropping the flask in his hand on the way out. He tries to salute, but almost falls flat on his face in the attempt.
Lieutenant Lilia! Airman First Class Andreas, at your service.
Luckily, he manages to complete the wobbly salute.
Are you the warehouse guard?
She looks at the soldier doubtfully.
Yes, ma'am!
Few would so eagerly admit to the dereliction of her duties. In a way, he possesses exceptional courage.
On your feet, soldier. My Red 38 is in your warehouse for maintenance, and I need you to remove the gravity ritual from it.
Gravity ritual?
If you don't understand what I'm saying, go get someone who does. I need it today.
The soldier ponders, slowed by his inebriation. Just as Lily is about to lose her patience, the soldier's eyes light up.
Oh, right. The gravity ritual. Yes, I know. Please, come with me. I'll take you to the warehouse.
Are you certain you can undo the ritual?
Yes, ma'am. They made sure I got the hang of it before they took off. Leave it to me.
Lead the way, soldier.
They stand side by side in the factory, the wooden crate before them.
Open it.
Oh,
I remember this package. I thought it was some kind of joke or someone with the same name as you sent the package. Who would have thought that you'd come to Texas yourself?
This guy just loves getting himself into trouble. He rambles on. Lilia's patience is coming to an end.
Hurry up, soldier. Open the crate. Now.
Ma'am, I know you want to do this quick. I haven't been authorized to undo this incantation.
If you can't do it, find me someone who can. I won't say it a third time.
Truth be told, there's no one else to turn to. I'm the only one left. I was made an airman first class to do this job. I was still in training before this, you see.
He proudly pats his chest.
The others were either transferred back to headquarters or just left. I don't know where they are now. But since they entrusted me with such an important task, I'm sure I have a bright future ahead of me.
Not at all. Lilia's patience has officially run out.
You just said you aren't authorized, not that you don't have the ability, alright? I have two options for you. 1, remove the ritual now. Or 2, I beat your ass, and then you remove the ritual.
Well...
Choose! No more gibbering.
She readies her fist.
I picked the second one.
Huh?
She is genuinely confused.
You see, I'm happy to get rid of the ritual for you, but I can't do it on my own initiative. I'm only an airman first class. I can't make decisions about this stuff. So, you have to beat me up to avoid future inquiries. One day, after I'm promoted, I'll be able to better assist you, ma'am. I mean, you're the best pilot I've ever seen. I even made a scrapbook of the reports on your flights.
Before he can finish what he's saying, Lily has already clocked him.
Alright, no screaming, soldier.
Each hit seems to clear his head a little more. By the time his face is completely swollen, he is snapped back to reality.
Stop! Stop! This is plenty to prove my innocence. I'll undo the ritual now.
He squats down and performs the necessary movements around the crate. There's a flash of light and the crate opens.
Oof. You almost blinded.
She eagerly grabs the Red 38 and feels the familiar touch of the cold metal in her palm.
Thanks, soldier. There's one more thing.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know why Zeno pulled out of here so suddenly?
He squints, trying to remember.
They said it was an order from the top.
The top?
And that's all I was told. But word is, it was because Admiral Igor got real mad about the video leak of the vacuum bomb. But that's just a rumor. Ever since the evacuation, strange things have started to happen.
Such as?
We started getting visitors from this group called the Order of Enlightenment, and now the farmers have stopped tending their fields. The cattle and sheep have been abandoned in the wilderness. All the townsfolk do now is go to these gatherings, hoping that the sufferer will bring them eternal joy. I don't know who this sufferer is, but he ain't doing any good here.
Where do those people stay? In the town?
It's a ways away, I think.
The soldier struggles to recall.
A place called Tuesday's Motel.
Belin, Vertin! I have to go back!
She clasps the Red 38 with both hands, the cold grooves of the metal setting into her grasp.
Let's get out of here, girl!
With a victorious stance, she mounts the Red 38. A silver light traces an arc in the sky as the pilot leaves the factory and disappears into the night.
Safe travels, ma'am!
The young man soldier calls out after, his voice soon swallowed up by the night. Short distance flights are no challenge for Lilia. She lands near the motel, guided by its glowing sign. The shadows of the trees around it are look like hunched human fingers.
Choose this motel.
She locks onto her destination and is about to proceed when she feels something tap her on her shoulder from behind.
Hello.
I can't help you. Ask someone else.
Can you give me a ride?
I said I can't help you.
The repeated questions are getting on her nerves. She swivels around, ready to give the questioner a piece of her mind, but freezes on the spot. There's a girl wearing an outdated outfit. Her face has no discernible features, like it's been smoothed over with cement.
Can I have some chocolate?
The faceless girl holds out a candy wrapper.
I met a kind man who gave me some chocolate. I've never tasted anything so sweet.
The hell? Stay away from me!
Can I have that candy? More! I want more!
She opens her mouth wide, revealing a row of razor-sharp teeth.
Stop asking me for candy! This isn't Halloween, idiot!
Let's go.
Who ate beans?
Oh, that's creepy. Woman in the tub, man. Hit him with
A
that.
good point.
It could be found.
Taking another look?
Time to check my calculations.
It won't last.
A new hypothesis.
Oops.
No other study could show you this.
Which one hurts?
An academic question.
Or this one?
Given that.
Limited scale,
Willow's
infinite
about to
lines.
wreck this girl.
Confirm the coordinates.
I found a tooth. Perhaps it's a gift for the tooth fairies.
Hey.
The pilot relaxes her poised fist when she recognizes the person in front of her.
It's you.
Are you alright? You look pale.
You shouldn't sneak up on people like that. I could have hurt you.
My apologies. But you're safe now that you're at the motel. No need to be frightened.
Every town has its own story. Some fit for prime time, others for filling slots. Bound Diary, February 5th. Ain't that odd. Pierce came back early this morning, scared out of his mind. I had never seen the kid so freaked out. He sped through town and only slammed on the brakes when he got out to the front door, as if something was chasing him. That nut almost ran over Marita's little bulldog. Only God knows what he ran into. February 15th. The birds were chirping the whole night long. I had never seen so many of them gathered together. Oh boy, they were so noisy, I barely slept a wink. Ruth was scared. She thought it was some kind of omen. What a joke. These long-beak birdies aren't afraid of shotguns, that's for sure. I fired a shot at them, but only a few got spooked enough to fly away. Father Morgan suggested hiring a bird-controlled team. If such a thing exists in the big city, that is. But I still think we should assemble all the gun users in town, kill those birds once and for all, rather than scare them off. March 27th. Had a nightmare, a very vivid one. Though I can't for the life of me remember what it was all about now. Ruth woke up scared too. I comforted her. It was just a nightmare, nothing more. March 30th. Pierce didn't come back from Houston. but the police sure did. They said Pierce's employer in Houston reported him missing, thinking he ran off with their money. I wouldn't put it past that sly fox. April 10th. All night long, the birds were making that racket again. When I pulled back the curtains in the morning, I thought I was still dreaming, but it was real. There were so many birds they were blocking out the sun. It was like a waking nightmare. April 12th. The birds scattered. Everyone looked kind of strange. It had been ages since I saw Marita walking her dog, and started bawling over the most trivial things. It's unnerving. April 17th. Johnny's back in town, looking like his soul got swallowed up by the devil. I saw him running, screaming like a madman, then he just collapsed on the lawn all of a sudden, crying and begging for someone to spare him. Father Morgan came, but he had this strange look about him. I heard what Johnny was saying. He was mumbling on and on about a motel. May 13th. I talked to a realtor. Yeah, it's come to that. I'm finally thinking about moving. Why? I don't know. I guess you could call it a gut feeling. Maybe my mind can be eased up a bit somewhere new. Let's go to the other one. Discipline, discipline. Hastily drawn lines in a standard issue notebook, as clear and powerful as the lieutenant wrote them. Accountability record. Date of record September 20th, 1990. Recorded by Lieutenant Mulder. Subject, Admiral Igor's recent actions. This week, Admiral Igor addressed the conduct of 3 subordinates and implemented the following measures. Captain L. Harris, transgression, ineffective leadership during training, resulting in subpar exercise performance. Admiral Igor's action, issued a severe warning and reassigned from current position. Sergeant K. Rodriguez, transgression, breach of military discipline, unauthorized absence from duty. Admiral Igor's action, give a severe reprimand and impose 3 days of confinement. Lieutenant J. Davis, failure to complete transgression, failure to complete assigned tasks within the designated time frame. Admiral Igor's action, issued a severe warning and assigned additional personnel to assist with the investigation. The source of the leak has been identified as Steven Garcia. Leaked content, vacuum bomb explosion footage, end of record. Note to self. It is evident that the Admiral's stringent measures were aimed at reinforcing military discipline. We must ensure that every officer and soldier adheres strictly to their duties and maintains a high level of readiness. Some officers believe he has been excessively harsh recently. Discuss this with them. High Admiral's perspective. Arrange a meeting for the Admiral. Tracking target K. Texas. Awaiting scout report. Alright, I am going to do a BRB to get some water. Ah, it feels good. Please do not disturb. Argus presses the speaker button on the telephone. A familiar tapping sound comes from the other end of the line. H-E-L-P.
Help. B-A-A. Is that the sound of a sheep?
You noticed it too, huh? Ain't no way that's a human on the other end. It's gotta be some kind of animal.
Animal?
Based on those sounds and the tracks and the dust, I figure it's something small, like a...
She stops.
One sec, boss.
She fishes something out of her pocket and pops it into her mouth.
Krasma candy? Using your arcane skill so frequently must be tiring. You should take a break.
The job ain't done yet. Far too early to rest. Don't worry, boss. It's just a condition that runs in my family. No biggie.
What are its side effects?
Boss, you expect a merc to reveal her weakness? We ain't that close yet. One thing I can tell you, though, is that I suffer the side effects as long as my eyes are open. Luckily, I've got cutting-edge technology at my disposal.
She holds up the candy between her fingers.
They're safe, efficient, and most importantly, satisfy my sweet tooth.
They may be called candy, but they're actually medicine and ought to be used following medical instructions. You should know that.
Give me a break, boss. What do doctors know about my life? I use these candies whenever I need them. Ain't that the whole point?
But...
Argus motions for her to be quiet.
Shh. Did you hear that?
Hear what?
Argus lowers her voice.
A heartbeat. Right outside the door. Someone's eavesdropping on us.
Thump, thump, thump. She crouches down. Thump, thump, thump. With a faint click, she loads her shotgun. Thump, thump, thump. Thump, thump. Then she swiftly turns the door handle. The eavesdropping girl nearly falls forward into the room as the door swings open.
Care to explain why? Just how obsessed are you with Mr. Stefan, huh? Even now, after his death?
Oh, no, it's not what you think. I was just looking for my toy and it just so happens.
Toy? You know, it ain't my style to point a gun at an unarmed person, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. Especially when they're speaking with a forked tongue. 5.
I told you, I was just looking for...
4.
Are you joking?
She stomps her feet anxiously, making the floor tremble a little.
3.
I didn't.
She closes her eyes if she has made a decision.
2, 1.
She pulls the trigger. The bullet flies past Miss Kimberly's ear. Her face turns pale. She curls up, desperately trying to make herself smaller.
Don't kill me! Don't kill me!
Her fingers tremble uncontrollably as black claws extend from her fingertips. She looks at the claws in shock, quickly tucking them into her chest, then looks nervously at the two of them.
I saw them in Kimberly and Matilda's report. I thought it was just a coincidence. But now I realize it wasn't. Miss Kimberly, you're a member of Manus Vindictae, aren't you?
I swear, I didn't do anything wrong. All I did was follow my partner like the people in black told me to.
Who's your partner?
I'm hungry. All the time. So hungry. Oh, how I envy the likes of you. You can store your food in so many ways. You have enough bread and water in your barns to last an entire winter. Your pastures are full of meat and dairy products. But my food... I promise, all I'm trying to do is get back what I lost.
There's no need to be afraid. We won't hurt you, as long as you tell me the name of your partner.
Miss Kimberly's eyes dart around.
If I tell you...
That depends on your sincerity.
She's called Miss Grace.
What's your purpose here?
I don't know. Those people in black told me to follow Miss Grace's orders, but she hasn't asked me to do anything since we got here. She must be hiding something from me, but I couldn't care less. I just want to eat.
She speaks earnestly, but her other hand pulls something out of her pocket. She gives a sly smile and crushes the item in her hand, releasing a veil of thick black smoke.
You annoying little brats can catch me in your dreams.
She's casting a teleport ritual. Argus, your assistant. We can't let her get away.
Is this a new route?
I admire your courage.
Bro, want to hit the waves?
Keep up the pace.
Hold my hand. It's just skipping stones.
And now, to return to my long-term mission.
Bang. In a final burst of smoke, Miss Kimberly vanishes.
She disappeared fast.
At least now we can draw some conclusions. Manus Vindictae has set their eyes on this motel. Under the name of the Order of Enlightenment, they used this place as a base and conducted some failed ritual experiments before they left.
Manus Vindictae. I've heard of them. That infamous group of arcanists.
She looks worried.
If Kayla falls into their hands, things won't turn out well, will they?
I wouldn't worry too much. They usually only target pure-blooded arcanists.
Alright, that's a relief. Kayla's bloodline is 100% human.
But why would Manus Vindictae choose to come here specifically? What are they trying to do?
Entrance, Tuesday's motel. The conversation continues under the neon lights of the motel.
I was worried you wouldn't be able to make your way back, so I lit the porch light for you. Oh, but how annoying that these moths keep fluttering around.
Cut the crap, lady. Where's Vertin? Take me to her.
I rarely turn on this light. My baby never gets lost, you see.
She gives a faint
But
smile.
a young, spirited child such as yourself always needs a light to lead the way. To the weary traveler, this light is a shelter. To a child, it's a mother. And to you, what does this light mean to you?
What? The maid's light face flushes red.
No matter who they are, people need a light to shine through the darkness, to chase away their fears. Don't you agree?
Are you a member of the Order of Enlightenment?
Order of Enlightenment? Oh, you mean those troublesome guests?
Guests?
The maid ignores her question and continues talking to herself.
I don't like them one bit. They've scribbled all over the place and made a mess of the rooms. They hurt my baby. Oh, my poor baby. Shh, don't be scared. Everything's all right now.
She gently comforts the child in her arms, patting the swaddling cloth softly.
Are they still here?
Oh, of course. They made an offer that I couldn't refuse. After all.
How much did they pay you?
Oh, you are naive, my sweet child. There are countless things in this world that money can't buy. A traveler can't buy the sudden appearance of a hotel at just the right time. A crying child can't buy the comforting embrace of their mother. And I can't buy that thrilling satisfaction brought by sweet darkness.
The maid's near-neurotic muttering is getting on Lily's nerves.
Enough of your... I can't waste any more time talking to you. I can't...
Every blink, Lily's sight becomes increasingly blurred. She can just about make out the maid's smile. She gently smooths the dazed pilot.
Sleep tight. Just leave everything to the adults. Yes. What a good child you are.
She flips the sign on the door to "Do Not Disturb." Necessary buys. She's a reliable and attentive owner of the motel, always making sure her supplies are well stocked, even those that her guests may not need. Hotel shopping list, August 1989. Bought Blue Jay coffee beans, 5 pounds with filters. River Valley bed sheets, 15 sets. Going through these too fast, need a countermeasure. Secondhand TV, 1 TV set, a good deal. Wanted spooky shadows within, the seller said. Ha! Sold. 1 Cowboy brand toolkit, 1 set. October 1989, bought. Thanksgiving decorations, 1 set. Pecan Grove air fresheners, 1 dozen. Bloodstained trick is too simple. Need to have a word with it. Light of the South bulbs, 1 dozen. Pretty crumby, but affordable and useful. Fresh cream, 3 pints. From Old Stewart's Ranch, yum. Can maybe get some candy next time? November 1989. Bought. Texas Trail Candy, 5 boxes, yum. Marigold Body Wash, 1 dozen. Smells too strong. January 1990. Bought. 7-star tea bags, 3 boxes. Fresh ranch butter, 15 pounds. River Valley bed sheets, 12 sets. Hope this batch lasts longer. Sold. Secondhand TV, 1 set. Sorry, darling, but it's time to say goodbye. What? The Girl and the Hound.
Found his medication prescription. And... oh. Is this his notebook?
She pulls a crumbled piece of paper from her pocket.
Huh. Just as expected, boss. This motel ain't what it seems to be. Ain't no way that letter was written by Stefan. Take a look. The writing in this letter is delicate and slender, while the writing in this notebook is total chicken scratch. Even a blind person could tell they're written by 2 different people.
Stefan didn't write the letter, so it's very likely that the person who sent it wasn't Stefan either.
The maid suddenly comes to mind.
And this?
She picks up a stack of bound papers from the table.
Ugh, I hate numbers. I'll leave this one to you, boss.
It appears to be Mr. Stephen's records of his daily expenses, along with some notes, cigarettes, alcohol, and a significant amount of psychiatric medication. It says he was tormented by his hallucinations day after day, so he had to increase his dosage.
Okay.
And it says he saw a room numbered 707 here.
The motel only has 2 floors. There can't be a room starting with 7. Did he describe it at all?
He said the room had a bright red door that seemed completely out of place.
Maybe it was just one of his hallucinations.
There's a flash of red in the hallway.
No, it's not that. He also saw all kinds of things. A pair of twins in the hallway, long hair hanging from the ceiling, and he saw Barbara, but assumed she was another hallucination.
A small sheep's head is sketched on the paper.
This proves that Barbara's been to the motel, which means...
Well, I'm sorry to say that I've never met an arcanist with the head of a sheep. I can help you ask around if you...
Why did she lie to me?
Argus interrupts her with thoughts.
So, did you find anything useful from the expense record?
I need to talk to the maid.
Hold your horses. We haven't searched the washroom yet. You should never skip the bathroom. Ain't you seen The Godfather? Michael Corleone grabs his gun from behind a toilet tank.
She pushes open the bathroom door as she speaks. The bathroom mirror is surrounded by half-burned candles. She holds out a hand to signal a stop. She moves closer and knocks on the mirror. The copper frame gives a hollow echo. A vivid, venomous green slashes across the mirror. An ivory
Argus.
face.
Argus, you've come to me.
Do you know her?
Argus doesn't respond. Her eyes are locked on the mirror as if lost in a daze.
Argus, Argus.
The faint voice echoes around the bathroom, like waves crashing repeatedly against the shore.
It's not possible.
Argus's silence gives rise to a bold speculation.
Is that Kayla?
No, there's no way that's her. If you knew Kayla like I do, you'd say the same. This distorted reflection in the mirror is probably a result of the excessive arcanum in this motel. A ritual similar to Bloody Mary used to be quite popular among the kids in this town. If you look into a mirror at exactly midnight, the spirit within will morph into the shape of the person you desire most. But if you respond to the spirit's call, it will drain your soul from your body.
I always thought those were just myths.
So did I. But after all the strange things I've seen, I've become less surprised. These spirits feed on the energy of our souls. That's why you should never trust a word they say. The people who are tricked by them fall into a kind of trance, and some, like Mr. Stephen, go crazy. I wonder what he saw in the mirror. Anyway, I won't repeat his mistake.
She raises her shotgun, ready to fire.
For mercs like me, the deepest despair ain't external danger. It's internal hesitation. If some pale imitation makes me hesitate so easily, then how can I claim to be able to protect others? You've got to be able to stand your ground. A cunning criminal would use every excuse to defend themselves in court, and a scheming spy would wear all kinds of disguises to gather information on the enemy. That's why we've got to stay sharp. When it comes down to it, we only have our own 2 legs to stand on. Mercs ain't philosophers. Once a merc starts pondering morals, justice, and ethics, they're digging their own grave. For a merc, the mission objective is the only thing that matters. Overthinking don't bring nothing but disaster and destruction. That's why it won't fool me.
Her gaze is steady. Memories flash by, distant and painful. Laughing and running in those grassy fields.
The folks on the ranch adored little Kayla. She was the apple of all their eyes. How dare this ugly imitation?
She forcefully loads the shotgun. She aims her gun squarely at the mirror.
Here's my response.
Keep the sample. A new hypothesis.
It could be found.
The benefits of field mapping.
Uh-huh. That's troublesome.
Okay. Let's upgrade this crate. They're almost all dead.
A little surprise. Dance before dawn breaks.
Isn't that it could be found? Oh, you are rather
That was cute.
relentless.
I like her ult with the skin.
Okay, but what does it mean to us? I mean, what does it prove?
Argus. Argus. You've come to me.
Let this serve as a reminder to remain vigilant. If there were a deceitful Spirit of the Year award, I'm sure that would win.
Stefan Garcia, a Xeno captain, 36 years old. For unknown reasons, likely connected to Manus Vindictae, he moved into this motel. He attempted to make contact with Xeno several times, all of which failed. During his stay, he was tortured by increasingly intense hallucinations, delusion, and fear. And as a result,
he committed suicide, and that's everything the evidence showed.
Chaotic clues are rolling in her mind. A churning stomach.
No, we must have overlooked something. A military officer killing himself. A phone call asking for help in Morse code, not to mention Manus Vindictae.
Where's this going, boss?
We've encountered a series of bizarre events, one after another, ever since we arrived at this motel. The rituals in the rooms, the officer that went mad, the spirit in the mirror, and Manus Vindicte. Only one person remains uninvolved.
The maid?
Are you trying to say that she's the mastermind behind all?
She should know more about all this than anyone. Yet she feigns ignorance at every turn, which is suspicious in its own right.
But what's there for a motel housekeeper to gain from all this? It's not like these spooky scandals would attract more guests, unless someone else is pulling the strings. But that don't make much sense either, does it? When all these unusual things happened, she was happy to stand by and watch. But by whose orders? Some larger, more mysterious organization? Give me a break.
What if she doesn't desire money or power?
So what you're saying is that you need to ask Little Miss Maid a couple more questions.
Precisely.
Argus sighs.
That spirit morphed into Kayla, so it must have seen her face at some point. Which means that at one time, Kayla was in this room. And you're right. Tuesday's definitely not a run-of-the-mill motel maid. It wouldn't be wise to approach her rashly. Let me finish up here first.
All right.
After a moment, Argus shakes her head in disappointment.
Nope. I got nothing. Let's go find that maid. I have a few questions for her myself.
She makes her way across the room and opens the door. She freezes.
Where'd the body go?
The corpse that had been lying in the hallway has vanished, leaving only a pool of blood on the floor.
Ain't no signs of dragon neither. Who and how?
Ring, ring, ring! The ringing echoes through the doorway.
The phone again. What do you think? Should we answer it?
Those weren't prank calls. Someone was sending a distress signal in Morse code.
She picks up the receiver and presses the speaker button.
Could you tell me what year it is now?
A soft voice plays through the speaker.
Who's this?
This is Barbara.
To be continued.
Wonderful.
Voice on the
I
other
can
end
talk over the
continues.
phone now. The wind must still be wandering nearby.
That's good to hear. Are you an editor for Atu?
There was a sigh of relief.
Yes, miss. But before we continue our conversation, could you please tell me what year it is now?
1990.
I see.
The frail voice steadies.
Miss Barbara, can I meet you in person?
You want to meet me?
Yes. I'm Vertin, the timekeeper of the St. Pavlov Foundation. I was sent to ask you about Erd's whereabouts, but you don't seem to be in a favorable situation right now.
Miss Burton, I couldn't possibly locate Erd's whereabouts. The whispers of the wind can't reach this room.
The whispers of the wind?
Yes, it's a special form of communication.
Right. Well, is there anything I can do to help you rebuild this line of communication?
Let me first explain the situation to you. Here are a few things I'm certain of. First, this isn't an ordinary motel. It possesses some kind of supernatural life force. Before checking in, I interviewed some of the residents nearby. They all mentioned eerie rumors centered around the motel these past few months.
Yes, we've encountered some bizarre events here, like real-life urban legends.
Second, I'm not trapped in a red room. This room is in the same motel as yours. What's different is that it blocks all forms of communication. I couldn't get the room to open, and my voice didn't reach through the phone. That wasn't until a gunshot broke this intangible restraint. this small room contracted violently, and now I can communicate with the outside world. At first, I thought it was an earthquake, but the contracted space soon returned to normal. Earthquakes can't do that, can they?
Before this happened, were you using spiders to communicate with the world outside?
Yes, I was. As luck would have it, there are many spiders here, thanks to the prevalence of spiders in urban legends, I assume.
They can hear the sound of pages being turned from the other end of the telephone.
There's some paranoia about spiders living in hair. It originated in a sermon from 13th century England. A woman was always late to Mass because she spent too much time styling her hair. Eventually, a devil attached itself to her hair in the form of a spider. Yes, they delivered messages for me in their own peculiar way. Being completely isolated from the outside world greatly unsettled me. It reminded me of that terrible phenomenon.
She takes a few light breaths.
Fortunately, that wasn't the case.
But you're still trapped in that room, right?
Yes, the door's gone. I can't get out from the inside.
How did you get in there in the first place? Or rather, who brought you into that room?
Well, who else could it be? The maid named Tuesday.
Just as I expected.
Wait.
The mercenary cuts
You're
in.
the driver who left me on the road, right? I remember your voice.
Yeah, I actually changed my mind and turned back to get you, but you were gone by the time I arrived. I guess that's when you came to this motel, right?
Yes. Tuesday saw me and invited me here.
Oh.
Did you want to ask me something?
Have you seen a girl of about 5'3" in a white dress, curly chestnut-colored hair, green eyes, small hands?
I may have seen her. When I first arrived, I saw a girl who matched your description coming down the hallway. She was carrying an empty basket. I presumed that she'd been shopping in the town nearby. If I recall correctly, she didn't check out.
Thank you.
She slumps her shoulders, and the light in her eye dims.
How can we find this room?
It's just in the hallway, number 707. Look for a door covered in red.
Looks like the phone got disconnected.
So Barbara's in that room that Stefan saw. I'm going to find it. What about you? Heading into town for Kayla?
After a brief silence, Argus speaks.
I did notice a weird spot in the hallway earlier. The maid's footprints were going back and forth like there was an entrance there, but I didn't see no signs of a door.
She scratches her head with the barrel of her gun.
I wouldn't be surprised if you died by your own gun one day.
They finally called her out.
That'd be a memorable way to go. All right, enough kidding around.
She perks up.
Our little Miss May tried so very hard to hide Barbara from us, but I guess the lamb's out of the bag now.
Yes, it's all crystal clear now. Let's go.
Hold up a sec, boss.
She bites her lip.
Do you have any candies? I'm running on fumes here, and I ain't got no way to replenish my stash.
Asking for help seems very difficult for her. She pulls a few pieces of candy from her pocket, places them in Argus's palm.
Us and Barbara will be out of here soon, and you'll find some candy and Kyla in town.
Alright, I'm stopping here. Oh, Brittany's up, and she's playing Honkai Star Rail. I'm all about that. End stream message.